afternoon. This is Mary Lou Foster. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Northeast Texas. Actually, it's Sulphur Springs. You'll find us about halfway between Dallas and Texarkana on the map. Let me see here. Checking. Got to make sure that I sound okay on Facebook. If it ever tells me that I'm live, those notifications take forever sometimes. So I advertised this today as iced tea and cards. I thought I would change it up a little bit instead of coffee and cards. We're going to have iced tea today. I like Crystal Light peach tea, but I put it in a fancy glass instead of my usual shaker bottle. So how are y'all? Hopefully you've got time to hop on. I see a notification here. I have switched. There we are. All right, I'm going to check the volume on my phone to see. I'm not hearing it on there. Oh, that's because I have the on my phone to see. There you go. And I'm going to see if I can remove the automatic. I don't know why it does that now. Alrighty. Well, today I'm going to be using the Decorative Borders stamp. This was one that we all got for free when we went to Onstage in November. Let me check one more thing. I want to watch this on my iPad and not my phone. What is on my screen? Notification. This is just the craziest thing, because it won't show me my own video. Well, I think eventually it'll come up and I'll be able to see comments. That's the crazy thing about. I'll put my phone in front of me. Alright, so let's get started. No more wasting time. So like I said, today I'm using the Decorative Borders stamp set. I'm using the kind of the straight one, but as you can see, there are some very large borders in here. And I'll be playing with those, just not today. We're going to use the one that has the pretty rose or flower in the center of it. This is a fun fold card. You may notice that I have my tag slid out, excuse me, of the pocket that we're going to create for this card. It's a little bit different because it doesn't open. It's on just a panel. Here I have my notes. I use the tailor-made tags. You may remember those are in 3 different sizes, so you can layer them. This is the largest one, and that's where the sentiment is, and this is where you would write your happy birthday or sign your card. And when I send that, I'm going to kind of indicate that there's words on it by maybe putting it in at a little bit of an angle, so they're not going, where's my card? Because some people get a little frustrated whenever they feel like that they can't open their card. Alrighty, so I'm using the it says potted geraniums, and I believe my sentiment that I'm putting on the inside, birthdays are reminders that life should be celebrated. I love that idea. You know, we all have birthdays, and some are a little scarier than others whenever it's a major threshold. Like turning 60 was fun, turning 30 not so fun. I had my midlife crisis at 30. 40, no big deal. It's clicking right along by then. So our piece of cardstock for this card is cut a little bit differently. It is 4 1/4, so you're taking your piece of 8 1/2 by 11, cutting it down the middle this way, and scoring it at the 5 1/2. There's a couple of different ways to do it. You could go ahead and cut this piece. I didn't write down the measurement, so I've got to do it on, because I cut the piece 9 1/2, which means that this is scored at 4 inches, like this. Put it in here, score it at 4 inches. So when you fold it up, you've got that pocket that you're going to create. Then got all my other little pieces. This is mint macaron. I'm using the gingham paper that's part of the Country Floral. And I was hoping it didn't look too Christmassy because I've kind of got red and green going on. And I finally just went with it. So here's the trick on this one. Here is my tear and tape. Because you want this pocket open at the top, you cannot put your adhesive across that part. And we are just so used to just slathering on or rolling on adhesive that we get a little carried away sometimes. But for this one, you've got to step back a moment and kind of picture in your head what these are going to look like. And since we want that folded up and we want to be able to slide in our little sentiment tag, I got my fingernails done yesterday and they are too thick. So I'll probably have to be taking an emery board to them. I can't grab a hold of anything. Alrighty. So fold that. We've got our card base started. I probably should have stuck this on. Yeah. Before I glued it down. See, even I get out of order sometimes. But have no fear. I shall trim it just a little bit. It's already 3 3/4. I'm going to take another 1/8 of an inch off of it. I think I had to do this one other time. And hopefully it will slide down in here, especially if I can get it to slide straight. Or if all else fails, there is one other option. Let me cut just a piece off, and instead of trying to stick that entire piece in there, I just cut it at 1 3/4 inches, and I'm going to slide it, kind of position it where I think I want it, about like that, and take it back out because I like doing that, and put my adhesive on it. I should have put it on before I folded it up. It'll have a little bit bigger of a white border than my sample card. So I just kind of eyed it up. So what I did, oh, you know what? That was supposed to go in there. I'm just doing all the good. What are my extras? I have extras. I already had that piece cut shorter. I didn't take a minute to look at the... Alright, so this is the piece that goes on here. You probably had already identified that. The joys of going live. My husband was on his phone. You probably heard all that. Sorry. And we're going to center this. So it's got a little bit of the same mat around the whole thing. Then I have a piece for the bottom. Because it was front and back, I didn't just cut a solid piece of this gingham, and then this will go here, and the narrower piece will go at the top. And it is only going to have about a 1/16 of an inch all the way around it. And put some adhesive here. So I'm going to start with my top piece. And start on one side and work my way down. The pieces should all just nestle in together. And I'll butt that right up against that piece. Put adhesive on this. And put that up together. So I've built the base of the card. The card base is cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is our standard card size. Now we can do our stamping, and it's just stamped in Memento. I'm going to color it with Stampin' blends. And it's just stamped in the middle of this little piece of white. Excuse me if I stick my head in front of you. Kind of eyeing up. Looks nice. Get my Stampin' chamois. So I can clean that off. Today I'm going to color with mint macaron, light and dark, and light and dark sweet sorbet. Nothing real fancy about this. We use these in a class, so the points of this brush end have frayed. But I can use it to fill in these larger leaves, and then I'm going to switch to the nub end to fill in the smaller leaves. So have you had time to check out the online exclusives yet? I'm not going to waste ink to print all that out, because the intent is that you will go online to take a look at it. Guess I'll have to get another, I don't know if I can get this apart. I just pulled it apart. They do this sometimes. Let's see if I can get it apart, because I really need the nub end. I just can't grab a hold of it good enough to, well, they just do that sometimes. Especially if you have a pretty tight grip and you give a jerk, sometimes the cap stays on and it pulls out the barrel. So I'll just use the nib end here on the dark one. And then I'm going to do the light sorbet on my flowers. Whoops. The reason it's sorbet is the red in this gingham paper is sweet sorbet. Ice cream. That reminds me of ice cream. So I think on my sample card, I didn't even, yeah, maybe I highlighted some with the dark one. Just use the little nib end to give it some shadowing. just for a little bit of interest. Doesn't really change it very much. And the reason that I have a dark Daffodil Delight, see these little openings right here on the end? I just felt like they needed something, so I picked Daffodil Delight. Alrighty, that's all we had to do. Even with the malfunction of the pen, could have picked another color. I probably soft succulent would have looked fine. I believe that's one of the colors that is going to retire. So if you have favorites in these in colors, the 21, 23 in colors, you might want to go ahead and get them, because as soon as that retirement list is officially released, there will be a feeding frenzy. Trust me, it happens every catalog. And they will go, and you will be sad. So let's stamp our happy birthday. This one is out of the go-to greetings, because, you know, if you wanted to do just a note or thank you, thinking of you, I'm going to do this one birthday. And I'm going to stamp directly on the designer series paper because it shows up fine. I'll hold it up so you can see it. See, it shows up great. And clean my stamp because I don't want to get black on my supplies. Then let's do something with our tag. I'm going to stamp my sentiment for sure. Just stamp it in memento. Makes it easy just to have the one color out. I'm going to stamp it kind of to the top, so you'll have room to at least sign your name, and you can write your message on the back of the tag. I didn't really decorate it much. There is a bow that we're going to tie, and it is out of this beautiful mint macaron. No, sorry, Pool Party grosgrain ribbon. Gross grain. It's actually grosgrain. And I'm going to, my bow to start out with is going to be bigger than I need, but I find it's easier to do that and size it down instead of trying to tie it small. And I didn't tie it on the tag. I tied a bow and stuck it on with a glue dot because I wanted my bow to lay down in a certain way. And sometimes when you stick it through this hole to tie it, you can't get it to cooperate very well. I've been watching a girl tying bows. Her name is Heather Sides, and she fiddles and pulls, but her cards turn out really cool and really pretty because she does take the time to make the bow do what she wants the bow to do. And see, you can put that glue dot, you don't have to put it in the hole, you can put it just below the hole and it will stay on fine. Kind of covers the hole up for you. I may have stuck it in the hole more than I intended. So that, now we'll embellish. That's all in the box. And I used two embellishments on this card. I used the brass butterflies, but I also used, find them here so I can tell you exactly, the Flowers adhesive back trinkets. These are in silver and gold, and I find that I had not used them, and I was looking for that little bit of bling, and I chose the gold because the butterflies are gold. And I just put one down by the happy birthday because since I'm going to put my butterflies up around my flowers, I thought that would be just enough without. So I've got three of the elements, you know, three on here. They're just not all the same thing. So isn't that pretty? And I love how the mint macaron and the Pool Party ribbon go together so well. feel like that whoever gets this would be fine with figuring out how to open their card, quote unquote open. So let me know what you think. I think it's a really pretty card. It should mail fine. I haven't weighed it, but I don't think it's going to be over the 1 ounce for a first class postage. We have that discussion in class. I have another card for you today. Thought I'd make an adaptation of a card that I made, and it used no longer available paper, so I thought I should modify it and make one using the paper. If you wanted to decorate the envelope, I would suggest using some of this paper to do that. I don't have any here near me to put on the flap, but I think that would be really pretty. So I'm going to switch out and get my other card. I'm using the framed florets for this card. The inspiration card is this one, but it's using the designer series paper that was only available until the end of December. So for my Happy Scrappy card class, yeah, sometimes I'll do that because they're just interested in making cards. But I thought I need to use some current product and adapt that card so that if it's one that you would like to make, you would be able to order product to make it. And I think this one is going to be a thank you card. So I'm using, where'd I put it? The paper is Regency Park, and it is currently available. Paper is just beautiful. I've got a little display board of the Regency Park paper. We'll be making cards this month in my card class that is on March the 24th. I had to move it to a Friday because I have a doctor's appointment on Thursday and I couldn't get it fitted in. But we'll be using that stamp, this bundle in fact. So what I did is I went through it and I looked for some that were very similar to the original card. And this was what I came up with. So I have already cut my paper. This is 1 3/4 by 5 1/4, and the cardstock is 1 7/8 by 5 3/8. So that's kind of an odd size. Yes, I'll agree. All right, come on. Let's roll out the sticky here. Don't be holding back on me. So we'll it's going to be a very small edge because there's that very small difference, but it's just enough to kind of define the edge of that designer series paper without being a big mat. Crying out loud, come on, stop doing that. Apparently I am not angling it correctly because it's messing with me. And once again, just a very small, this one is 2 inches. The designer series paper is 2 inches by 5 1/4, and the mat underneath it is 2 1/8. So this time I'm going to start with the bottom piece. I want to make sure that it sticks. It'll have pretty much the regular edge around it. No, it won't. It'll have just a little bit also because the piece of cardstock is 3/8. So it will also just have that little 1/16 of an inch, basically. I'm not fighting with you anymore. I always like to put some around the top and the bottom. It may be overkill, but I don't want it to get loose. Or so now what I'm looking at the matte edge at the top and the sides, but I also kind of have to keep an eye on this middle spot so that it stays kind of level. We're going to cover up a lot of it. These are the framed florets dies, and when it cuts out the center also. So if you don't want them separate, you can accomplish that one of two ways. You can use some Scotch tape and Scotch tape it. I've got way too big of a piece to hold it into place. And another thing I did when I put my dimensionals, so that's all I'm going to do right now because I want to do my stamping. And I want this one, I'm going to make it go this way just to be different because I want to say thank you with all my heart. And I think I'm going to stamp that in Starry Sky. Could do it in Night of Navy, but I'd have to get up and go over there to get that one. My ink pads are the ones for the other. Hope that doesn't mess it up. So if I leave room, I've punched out some flowers out of the Regency Park paper, and I can fill this spot in with those flowers. This suite is in the the January to April mini catalog, and it's so pretty. It's just so pretty. I love flowers, though. All right, I think I will kind of work. I haven't decided if I'm going to lay that on flat or if I am going to use dimensionals. So I think I've got 3 little blue flowers, 2 petal pink, this one really pretty, it's either Mango Melody or Daffodil Delight. I think I'll pop it up. So we'll take those kind of out of the way, get my dimensionals, and I'm going to do it partly on that border because that will also hold it together. I'm going to skip the part where I've got Scotch tape. And I'll just make my way around holding that together. Oops. And I need some in the middle. Take my backing paper off, release paper. This is Balmy Blue. They're also talking about doing a color refresh, and I hope that Balmy Blue is not one of the colors that's going to be refreshed. We don't know. All we know is what they tell us, when they tell us. Alright, so I'm going to use glue dots. And for sure, I want it on the part that's going to be on the Balmy Blue sticking to me. So, layer that one there. Glue dot on this one. Come on. little blue one. I skipped a glue dot. Let's put that one right there. So next week is spring break here in our school district, and my grandson attends Garland ISD, and it's their spring break, so we are going camping. Probably won't be live until later in the week because we're gone Saturday through Wednesday. Just going to Cooper Lake. Weather's supposed to be pretty nice, so I'm really looking forward to it. Let's see here. How do I want to do that? But if I put it right there. So on my inspiration card, the card they made in Happy Scrappy, we use the flat adhesive back pearls. But I'm thinking I'm going to call an audible on that one also. And let's see if the pastel adhesive dyes will work for us. Gives it a little bit more sparkle. You can see those. They show up really nicely. But, I mean, why make this card exactly like that card? I say. What if we for sure put one right there? And I don't think I necessarily want to make these the center of the flowers. I just want to decorate the card. Put that one there. Yep. Well, let me see. That's all I should do. I think I should call that good. Then on the inside, so on the inside of this one, we stamped leaves and kind of colored them a little bit. We can certainly do that. Oops, got a little problem there. Let me see which ones we want to use. Got different ones going on over here. I think I'm going to use the black. And this is going to be a thank you note, so I don't have to have a sentiment in it. Do that. And my envelope. Wonder where I've hidden that. It's right here. I can also, let's see, how should I do that? Actually, like that. Then, let me cover this back up, move this out of the way, and we filled in those leaves with just one of the Stampin' Write markers. I didn't want to use the Stampin' Blends because remember it bleeds through, so on the inside of your card when you're coloring, then whenever you turn it over and look at the back side, I'm using the soft seafoam. I could use mint macaron. Not sure if that one, it doesn't even have any green on the front. I think the other one did, but it's okay. If we wanted to, we could put sequins, but it would still close. I don't typically put embellishments on the inside of my cards because I don't want it to be lumpy, if that makes any sense. So we'll, whoops. This doesn't bleed through. The Stampin' Blends bleed through. So that's why I chose this marker. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention if anybody used it or not. You can also do it on the envelope because it's not going to cause any issues. And it looks pretty, especially stamped in black like that. The leaves are pretty cool. So I think this will be the 2 cards that we'll do for today. I appreciate your time. I hope you liked the cards. I will be posting the list of supplies that I used So there's that card. Let me clean this stamp off so I can get it out of our way. I'll get out my other card to remind you what we did. One's a thank you card and one is a birthday card. So I hope you guys have a great day and a great week next week. And like I said, I'll probably come on, but it'll be later in the week, maybe even Friday. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.